Okay, to do this wreath, we're using 2 metal rings. This one is 14 inches wide. This one is 10 inches wide. And as you can see off the side, we got some really bulky, fuzzy red yarn that we're going to use. I will show you a close-up of the label to this yarn. I think it's still available, but I'm unsure. But I'm sure you can find something similar. And we're going to also use, as you saw in the picture before, a couple other things. So let's get making the simple wreath. Okay, step 1 is to take your wreath rings and put them close together. Now, if you have hot glue, this would probably be a good project for it. My craft glue may work, but I was a little worried it wouldn't. So I'm going to use packing tape because I want these 2 wreath rings to be right next to each other, so that when we wrap the yarn, it'll kind of fill in our kind of half moon space over here. So I'm just going to use packing tape because I feel like that's what I have on hand, and just some clear packing tape. I shouldn't need too big of one, a bigger piece, just to kind of ensure that hopefully it doesn't move. If I wanted to, I probably could have tried my craft glue, but I think this should work just enough to hold in place while I do everything else. So I'm just going to wrap it around, trying to keep the wreath rings kind of flat as I do it. Wrap it around, just keep wrapping it around, and then trying to lay it flat so that the tape will go on top of it, because you want it to be flat. So that's all I'm going to do here. I think this will hold it in place enough for the next step that we do. And again, we have a little tag here because I had tucked that in there, but it's going to get wrapped, so it's going to be fine. But again, you want them to lay flat. As you can see, let me zoom in, they're laying flat as I taped them. Hot glue would probably work, craft glue would probably work, but I'm testing out this theory in case you don't have that kind of stuff on hand. Okay, for the yarn, as you see, this is super fuzzy. This is what it's called, Mainstay Chanel Chunky Yarn, and it is a weight of 6, and this has 31.7 yards of yarn in it. It's an 8-ounce ball, so I'm sure you can find something similar to it. So, but what we're doing is pretty simple. Again, I wanted a project super simple, something that could be done like in one day. You wouldn't have to think too much about it. Something that even kids could help out with. Grab a longer piece. I gotta fix this, a longer piece a little bit, because again, we can trim them. So you might end up for about, I don't know, probably for this we could do about maybe 7 or 8 inches. And if you want to do it like fringe, then what you do, okay, is you'd have your loop on this side, right? And then you would just reach in and take your yarn, and then you would just kind of pull it. Okay, so that's like doing it as like adding fringe. And again, you can flip it whichever way you want. This tape we can end up trimming if it's already kind of gone around. Kind of make sure it's pushed down good, and we could trim it if we needed to, but again, if you're using glue or something, that might work as well, or work better. But again, we can just add it as fringe, which gives it a different look. Like I said, depending on which way you want it. If it's going to be hanging down, it's going to hang down. Just give it a little different vibe. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to add my fringe, and I'm going to add a row of fringe around here and a row of fringe around this one. That way we still have some space in between. Excuse me. So I'm going to quickly go around, varying the lengths of this, because again, you can trim it when you're done. Do the amount of fringe that you want. So I'm going to cut myself some pieces and just do that same little fringe technique. We'll do one more on camera if I can find my end. It's here somewhere. I know it is. There it is. This all is such a ball of yarn, but again, gotta cut maybe like 7 or 8 inches. However, you can do varying lengths. Some could be longer, shorter. So again, if you're doing the fringe, we got our loop, and now we want to be kind of mindful, because again, I want to do some on this one, some on that one. So we need to kind of wiggle in between the two, so I can put the fringe on this level. And again, I'm just taking the 2 end pieces and putting them back through the hole and tightening it. And again, that may lay behind it, it may lay in front of it. You may choose to not put one on the smaller one as you're going around, because you have one on the big, or we can, like I said, turn around. Oh goodness. We can turn around and do it like we did on this one, and do it on both, which might work at the beginning until we get to where they separate more. But again, we can just do our fringe. I love how fuzzy this yarn is. It makes me smile. And you can kind of tighten it a little bit. And again, they can be really close together, or you can choose to give yourself a little space in between if you want it to peek out. And again, I'm going to work it around, and then when I'm all done, I can go around and I can trim after I see how these lay, like how they will kind of fall down. If I like that, I can maneuver them. I can switch them to be on the outside of it, because again, I'm going to have the poinsettias on this side. So that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and put fringe. I'm going to decide when I need it to be at the top and when I need it to be on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I hope you can do that as well. Like I said, just vary your lengths and get it to a size that you're comfortable with. Okay, I kept going around, again, making varying different lengths of the fringe. And again, there's still space if I want to like add more, but it's really going to go by like how much of the metal you want to maybe see in it, given that we have the gold. And again, these, what I like, I got them from on clearance at Walmart, and they have a clip. That's what I kind of think is cool, is this way if you find something else that kind of clips on, you could change this out if you want. But I had a red one, and then as you see, I have my gold and another red one. So all I had to do was basically just take and clip it on where I wanted it. Let's see, I gotta get it back on there. Now the one thing I said, this yarn did do some shedding, but some of it was from when I was cutting it. So when I was done, I did this to kind of let any of the loose pieces kind of come down. So it does have a little shed quality to it. But I do really like it. I'm going to show it better hanging up in a second. But that's all I did, was I did the fringe all the way around to kind of give us this wonky looking wreath that's kind of, I think it's cute. I think it came out cute. I'm going to put this up higher so we can kind of see it a little better like we did in the picture in the beginning. Okay, here's the finished product. It definitely needs to get like trimmed up in places, but this is the general idea I'm going for. And I apologize if you can see my kid's hand, because he's helping me hold it up on my whiteboard. But again, I may trim some of these. I think this would look really pretty too if this was done in like a white yarn too, and almost the same technique, as it might look like snow. And I really like the gold, the poinsettia. And you can always try to add other embellishments if you want. I do like that there's a little gap there, so wherever you hang it, you're going to see something on the other side. Like I said, I definitely hope this just inspires you to take this idea and run with it. I know some of you could do a lot better job. Again, I am going to trim that area a little bit, and I just added a little piece of string to hang it. I'm sure you could find another embellishment, and you could also rotate it if you'd rather have them be up at the top or even bottom or whatever. It's something that you kind of play around with. Again, I just wanted this to inspire you guys to kind of, sorry, my cat is playing with the box in the background. I just wanted this to inspire you guys to maybe see what you could do for a wreath idea. And I really have to go give my cat treats so he stops playing with the box. Have a good day, everyone.